Hello and welcome back to INMR. In today's podcast, I'm going to be talking about all the action from game week 31 in the Premier League. There's 7 games to go and the table is the most competitive it's been in years. There were plenty of brilliant games this week, although some games were more entertaining than others. All of the games had a huge effect on the Premier League table. There's plenty to talk about this week as we saw the title race remain as close as ever, some huge victories at the bottom of the table, and results that saw 3 sides' European hopes take a dent. After summarising all the games, I'll be giving my team of the week, but before all of that, let's start with Manchester City versus Aston Villa. Erling Haaland and Kevin De Bruyne were rested for this game, but that wasn't a problem for Guardiola's side as Phil Foden stepped up with a fantastic hat-trick to add to Rodri's opener. Not only did Foden get a hat-trick, but he was also created a lot of chances for his teammates. It was a dominant performance from City, which of course is very standard. However, they do remain in third behind Arsenal and Liverpool. Which takes us nicely on to Arsenal's game. They beat Luton 2-0. There was lots of squad rotation, but it did work out. Emil Smith-Rowe in particular played quite well, coming in for his first start in a long time. Reece Nelson as well. This result dampens Luton's survival hopes, especially considering teams around them picked up points. Ødegaard broke the deadlock halfway through the first half, and it was a very well-worked goal. They remained second, just 1 point ahead of City and 2 behind Liverpool. Liverpool were the last of the 3 sides chasing the title to play this week. They faced Sheffield United and they managed to stay 2 points clear at the top of the table. A wonder strike from Alexis McAllister kept them top as they won 3-1. Of course, on paper this looked to be a comfortable victory for Liverpool, and it was that. They set a Premier League record as they kept 83.1% possession, and Sheffield United never really got a look in. Liverpool currently unbeaten in 7 Premier League games, and they take on Manchester United next, where they'll look for redemption at Old Trafford. Speaking of Man United, they had a late 4-3 game that didn't go their way this time round. It was Cole Palmer who broke United fans' heart within 82 seconds. I think this is the best game of the match week by a mile. The drama at the end was incredible. Young players for both sides did really well. Garnacho got a brace, Cole Palmer got a hat-trick, Gallagher scored early on too. To be honest, it's typical Man United. The game management was really poor. Yes, you could say the penalties were soft, but does it really matter? United have been caught out again, and I've said in previous podcasts it's a matter of time before they get caught out, and this was the worst way for it to happen from their point of view. Spurs missed out on their chance to go into the top 4 as they dropped 2 points to West Ham. The final score was 1-1. Brennan Johnson got his 5th goal of the season 5 minutes in, but it was cancelled out by Zuma's equaliser. The game started off quickly, as you can see by the 2 goals scored very early on, but the tempo then dropped off and it was a bit of a dull match, especially in the second half. Both sides had chances to take 3 points and both wasted them. I think Udogie's chance in particular, he really should have put away, and that will be something they look back on Tottenham if they don't manage to get Champions League football next season. Another 1-1 draw. This was Newcastle versus Everton. Dominic Calvert-Lewin ended his goal drought from 12 yards to cancel out Isak's opener. It's a big point for Everton that they managed to get right at the end of the game. The penalty, it's definitely a foul. It's really needless from Dummett, who had limited minutes already, and I can't imagine this has helped his cause. Really silly decision to take down Ashley Young in the penalty box as he did, which means Newcastle are another side that didn't take their opportunity to boost their European chances for next year. The final side who missed out on a chance to go into their preferred European spot was Brighton. They saw out a goalless draw against Brentford. Really, really boring game. Brighton just couldn't break the bees down. They had 24 shots compared to Brentford's 5. They never really tested Flecken enough. João Pedro made his return with his first start in 2 months and he impressed. I think he is somebody that could save the season. He's so clinical in front of goal. Obviously there was that penalty call for Brighton. And of course, I think if that had been given, you'd bet your house on him scoring it. He scored 10 out of 10 for Brighton this season. Whistle was the only Brentford player making stuff happen for the home side. He got in behind Brighton's defence quite often and looked to create opportunities, but no one was ever really getting on the end of what he was trying to provide. In my opinion, this was a massive 6-pointer for Brighton. They've got Arsenal coming up on the weekend. They've got a really tough run to pick up points towards the end of the season to push for Conference League football, and this was one that they really needed to win, and they would have gone into 7th on goal difference if they'd won. Nottingham Forest versus Fulham. This was a 6-pointer that Forest managed to capitalise on. They've got a lot of breathing room at the bottom of the table now. They're 3 points ahead of Luton with this win. which is absolutely huge. Morgan Gibbs-White stood out in the first half especially, creating some brilliant chances, getting a goal himself. He was absolutely superb. Tosin Adarabioyo's goal was just a consolation. Muniz couldn't really get going in this one, which was disappointing for him and Fulham. On paper, this was a surprising result as Burnley picked up a point against Wolves. It's a positive that they're managing to pick up points now, but I do think they're still going to go down. It's too little too late for me from Burnley. Yes, they're unbeaten their last 4, but they do need wins rather than draws if they want to do the impossible. They're currently 6 points behind the 17th spot, and to be honest, they were probably hard done by in this game. They should have got 3 points in this one. Jose Sarr saved Wolves on multiple occasions. I think he made 5 saves in that game, and they were big ones as well. INMR stepped up for Wolves, but he was sort of the only player that was making stuff happen for them, which has been a theme in recent games. Obviously, injuries are currently an issue for Wolves, but they still need more players to step up like INMR is doing, and as Jose Sarr did in this one. The final game of game week 31 was Bournemouth versus Crystal Palace. The Cherries managed to get a narrow 1-0 win thanks to Justin Kluivert. They remain 5 games unbeaten and Palace are winless in 4 now. Although Kluivert got the winner, credit has to go to Semenyo. He was the difference in attack and he got that assist to show for it. Bournemouth were pretty good in the attack and also limited Crystal Palace's chances. Palace only managed 3 shots on goal compared to Bournemouth's 11, and if Bournemouth were a little bit more clinical they could have won by 2 or 3. So now that we've summarised all of the games, we're going to go over my team of the week. Starting off in goal, we've got Jose Sarr, as I said a moment ago. 5 saves, he really earned that point for Wolves. Wolves were very lucky to get a point. Burnley deserved more, but obviously that is thanks to Jose Sarr that Wolves did manage to come away with something from the game. 2 defenders, got Tosin Adarabioyo and Kurt Zouma. Both got a goal. Zouma obviously earned a point with his, and he stayed strong at the back, led the team well, earned a good point against Spurs. Adarabioyo's goal was consolation really, but he did win the most duels in the game with 7. He tried to mount attacks too, but unfortunately it wasn't Fulham's day, but he was solid in defence and was trying to make something happen going forward as well. Right back, I've gone for Burnley's Coutinho. He was solid at the back and created good chances. There was no standout right back across this week, but he put in an assured performance. Very similar at left back, we've got Igor Julio. He did do well, playing out of position of course, he's not naturally a left back, but he was very good defensively and provided lots in attack as well. Into the midfield, there were so many central players that did well this week, so the formation's a bit all over the shop. Starting off with Rodri, got a goal and an assist, controlled the midfield really well, and as per usual didn't put a foot wrong. Morgan Gibbs-White got his goal as well, created so much for Nottingham Forest. Alexis McAllister, he's been one of Liverpool's best players in recent weeks. He's really adapted to that Liverpool side well, and that goal to keep them top of the table just highlights how key he's been. He's popped up in big moments, and for 35 million you'd have to argue that he could potentially be the signing of the season. He also created 2 chances as well, could have got his brace, but unfortunately his free kick hit the post. Final midfielder is Phil Foden, and you can't not put him in there. Unreal hat-trick. He had so much quality on the ball, and now that he's got that finishing product added to his game, he's just unstoppable when you play him centrally. 2 forwards, I've gone for Alejandro Garnacho and Cole Palmer. We'll start off with Garnacho. He got his brace. He was arguably man of the match until Palmer got the hat-trick to win the game for Chelsea. Garnacho's had a brilliant season so far. He's really come into his own on the wing for United. He's been one of their best players, so that's why he's in there. And Palmer, I mean, he single-handedly won it for Chelsea again. He's been their best player by landslide. He was clinical from the spot, created 8 chances as well. Once he's surrounded by players that can take their chances as well as he does, Chelsea will be very well off. So that's my team of the week. My player of the week is Phil Foden, of course. If we have a look at what that all means for the Premier League table, so Liverpool remain top by 2 points. Arsenal and City, of course, very closely behind. Aston Villa are currently in 4th by 2 points, but Tottenham Hotspur do have a game in hand that could see them go ahead. Brighton missed out on their chance to leap into 7th. They remain 9th on goal difference over Chelsea. It's a big win for Forest to give them some breathing room above the drop zone. Luton are 3 points behind Forest after their 2-0 defeat. Bournemouth continue their fine form, winning for the 3rd consecutive time and extending their unbeaten run to 5 games. Currently, if I had to guess who was going down, I did think that Nottingham Forest would go down. However, that win against Fulham is huge, and I do think that the current teams in the relegation zone will stay as they are and go down. I'm still backing Liverpool to win the league. And can Brighton qualify for Europe? I think they might scrape it by the skin of their teeth. That is where I'm going to end today's podcast, but there's plenty of others coming up next week. We've got 3 podcasts next week as the Champions League returns, so stay tuned for that. There's also plenty of others already out that you can go and watch. For extra content, be sure to follow INMR on X and Instagram, and when my website is back up and running, be sure to check that out as well. Thank you very much for listening, and I will see you in the next one.